Hey Virgil, hope you're doing well today. Or tonight. I have hours, time zones. I have considered the defense's counsel's request for a further summation examination of the jury. And I have determined that the court must uphold the defense's judicial right to this procedure. It's 3 oh. I hope you're having a good late night. So, counsel, you will now proceed with your second summation examination. Ow, ow, sorry. I presume the jury is ready, Mr. Foreman? We are, my lord. Ow, 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 sorry. I don't know what it is, but my hip has been bugging me. Like, maybe I'm not standing right. Very good. In that case, I must ask each of you now to state clearly and concisely for the court the grounds on which you find the defendant guilty of this crime. Here we go. The accused left behind evidence at the scene, didn't he? Those 3 books of his. I can't remember all the voices I gave. If there was some novel alternative explanation about how the victim was stabbed, I might reconsider. Even if the woman was throwing books, it can't be related to this crime if the window was closed, can it? Slip. Dear me, it was only a little book. Hardly life-threatening, even with a direct hit. Look, I just want to get this over with. If I don't bring home some pay tonight, I'll be in a tiny bit of trouble. Come to think of it, we had a fire a little while ago. It gave me the sneezes. Oh, is that why his nose is red? Yes. Considerably more tangible arguments from all members of the jury this time around, it seems. Really? Like the last one? No. With one notable exception, of course. My learned student friend was unable to find fault in the previous witness testimony. So the court must accept the fact that it was indeed the accused seen fleeing from the scene. And moreover... Why do you keep throwing your wine? No one else was even at the scene to commit the crime. Well, if the eyewitnesses are correct, it would seem as if the conclusion is somewhat set in stone. Great. I fail to see how it can be argued any other way. He's thrown his wine at the light maybe, I think, twice so far. And then at some point he threw a whole bottle into the gallery behind him. That means, I'm afraid, that's during the summation examination. It's essential that you establish some other tangible explanation for the facts. But how? What would even constitute a tangible explanation here? Isn't it obvious? Who stabbed the woman, and how? Those 2 details are all you need provide. Simply give us a name and a method by which the attack was conducted. A name? And there I was thinking this might be hard. But Mr. Naruhodo, you have to do it. Otherwise, this really will be where the trial ends. God damn it. No pressure. That's quite enough preamble. Proceed with the summation examination, please. I presume you are prepared, counsel. No. I mean, yes, my lord. Okay, focus your mind. Double slap. Clearly, the key to the summation examination is going to be juror number 4, the maid. Or should I say Mrs. Garadeb? We have a book that disappeared from the Garadeb's house on the evening of the incident. And the 4th book found in the victim's hand. There must be a way to link the 2. Yes, that's what we have to find. Using every technique I've learned in my short career so far. Extremely short career, whatever it takes. Don't forget to keep an eye on Miss Garadeb and how she reacts, even to the things other people say. Don't fall asleep on me, dude. Defense rebuttal. I'm guessing just press until I see the maid react. But as we know now, there were 4 books, not 3. Well, what difference does it make? There's every possibility that the 4th book, in fact, belongs to the defendant's landlord. Yes, that's the part I have a problem with. Sorry? Well, at the point the woman was stabbed, this landlord fellow was at home, wasn't he? Enjoying a fiery scrap with his wife or something, he said. That's not exactly how he put it. Well, anyway, the point is, the fellow and his wife were somewhere else when it happened. I think that's what you call a strong alibi. So it couldn't have been the landlord who did it, which only leaves the... Knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone, fellow. Honestly, I can't see what all this palaver's about. Palaver? It's a done deal, isn't it? I suppose it is, since I have nothing what he just say. Hold it! So you might be willing to change your decision, you mean? Oh my, such delight on your face, but I'm afraid I shan't be swayed by emotion. Despite what you may think of me, I am a very modern, metropolitan, and rational woman. That's great. It's like I'm awesome. Good, and it only reads, if one reads the morning papers, it's all forgotten by tea time, isn't it? So why read them in the first place? You see, modern, metropolitan, and rational thinking, wouldn't you say? And not at all extreme. As I say, an overwhelmingly suspicious Japanese man has been implicated by overwhelmingly strong testimony. So despite 1 or 2 minor puzzlements, I do declare that this man is overwhelmingly guilty. Modern, metropolitan, and rational logic, wouldn't you say? Overwhelmingly. Okay, because I do declare, but us modern guys are always delighted to embrace new fads, you know? So I'd be only too happy to consider an exciting new theory if you come up with one. I'd be happy to do that too, if only I could. Let's do our very best not to disappoint the modern and metropolitan young lady. I'm glad you admitted rational there. This guy's eyebrows are weird. Hold it! Kind of weirdly reminds me of Clockwork Orange. But what about the possibility that the window was open? What about it? I mean, there's just no way it could have been. I don't remember what voice I gave this guy. Can't be so sure. Prosecutor fellow over there said it earlier, didn't he? Winters in London are no joke. You don't want to invite that sort of cold indoors. So no, that window wasn't open. Us Londoners like sitting by the fire and staying warm, see? But you couldn't categorically state that the window wasn't open, could you? It just wasn't. They wouldn't have opened it. Then what's the point of even having windows? Ryunosuke, come on. Counsel, you will kindly refrain from childish bickering. Oh, sorry. Like descendant, like ancestor. Somehow I need to show there's an undeniable possibility that the window was open. Because this young man isn't gonna budge otherwise. Your cheeks are so pudgy. Hold it! Sorry, my nose itches. But the little book was on fire at the time, was it not? With flames of love, I'll have you know. What? There's really no such thing as a loving incendiary bomb. Oh.
Well, he brought it upon himself. It's played with fire to betray a fiery love.
Also, keep in mind there's a guy sitting next to you.
Isn't it? Well, don't you agree?
Oh, well, any kind of betrayal is certainly a bad thing, yes. But I think the argument might have arisen out of your misunderstanding, Mrs. Karadeb.
Never you mind that. The point is, we were just having a jovial little dispute, nothing more.
What's so jovial about fire?
I won't have any more of these suggestions that was anything whatsoever what to do with this crime.
Great, well, we'll see about that. What about juror number 5? Thank you. He doesn't seem to be turning a hair in Mrs. Karadeb's relentless onslaughts. Thank you for pointing it out as well. It's almost as though he's used to it. What a gentle soul he is. That, or he's holding in a lot of rage.
Hold it!
You just want to get this over with? How can you sit there and say something like that? A man's future is at stake here. Well, him and me both then, like I said before. What? I told you already, I'm a day laborer, aren't I? If I don't bring home some readies? Money? With me tonight? You'll find me floating face down to the Thames tomorrow morning. What? What kind of job? Like, I remember something about construction work. Oh, it's your wife. You heard me. My missus isn't one to mess about, you know. She can be fierce, believe you me. Another shining example of marital bliss, then. Moral of the story, don't get married. In a straight marriage, anyway. A situation like this cropped up the other day. It was, well, you know, it's funny, but I can't quite remember. Did she hit you on the head? Sorry. It was too frightening, that's the thing. I must have blocked it out. Helpful. I wonder if Mr. Beat will ever be dragged into the Thames by his scarf. Don't even go there, Mrs. Sato. There must be some way to jog his memory about this. Wait. I was so focused on the Miss Gerda reacting. Wait, why does it say update? It looks the same. Unless they mean the, this one.
Hold it!
Does that have anything to do with your decision about the defendant's culpability in this case? Rory, what's that? You'll have to speak up, lad. I said, could you tell us more about that fire? It was last winter. My grandchildren baked me a lovely cake on my birthday. I can't do an old man voice. It had 75 candles on the top, it did. God damn. What a sight to behold it was. You put candles on a cake? Was it some kind of devil worship? Well, in a way, birthday cakes, they do kind of sound satanic. Like, just, you have a food thing, you stick fire in it, and you sing. Of course not, it was an angel cake to celebrate my birthday, obviously. His eyes. Birthdays as a whole do. Very true. It seems that's a common custom here in Great Britain, Mr. Naruhodo. Anyway, I mustered all my puff to blow about. Only I must have blown wrong somehow. The flames didn't go out, but candles went flying all over the room. Oh no. The furniture caught and everything went off. The whole place filled with smoke. Definitely sounds like devil worship to me. And by the sneezes, I presume you mean a cold? But how did you catch a cold from a fire? What a fiasco it was. The grandchildren, bless them, threw water over me as they tried to put out the flames. Grandpa's on fire! Drench him! And then because the whole room had filled up with smoke, of course. We had to open all the windows to clear it. The windows. The biting winter air rushed over me like the devil dancing on my grave, it did. I caught a terrible cold from it. They put me in hospital for a while. I won't forget that birthday in a hurry. I knew it was devil worship all along. Something about this old man's story is playing on my mind for some reason. Yeah, like opening the windows for the, like... Oh yeah, the blondie is like, why would you open a window? I opened windows because there was a fire! We need to demonstrate who, apart from Mr. Natsume, could have attacked the young woman on the street. As well as how he or she or they could have done it. Yes, but once again, the jurors' statements are full of personal prejudice. A lot of them seem convinced they're right, even in the face of logical arguments to the contrary. I think you're going to need to put them against each other to force them to accept an alternative explanation. Yes. I don't necessarily need to find contradictions between their assertions. Just a connection might do the trick. Let's see what I can do. If anything stands out, I'll go in for a strike. That's the spirit. Okay, I have an idea. But first... saving in case I fail. Okay, you. And...
Objection!
Yes! These two juror statements clearly contradict one another. They do? How exactly, counsel? Don't point at me again! I told you it wasn't me! Are you a... Is that an admission of guilt, Blondie? What's that you say? Speak up, lad, speak up. Juror number 3, do you see? Oh, me? See what, sir? Did you hear juror number 6's account of his birthday celebrations last year? I love that pose. It seems, despite being a Londoner, he once opened his windows in the middle of winter. Well, yes, of course, because it was an emergency. And you just said no one would do that. I mean, obviously if the room was filled with smoke from a fire, then you'd be mad not to... Ew! Exactly. On the day in question, at the time of the incident, there was a fire in the Garadeb household. And Mr. Garadeb had the following to say about it. The whole place filled with smoke!
Oh, my.
Ma'am? That's a lot of tea!
Excuse me!
Juror number 4, do you have something to say about that? Ma'am? Mrs. Garadeb. Oh, dearie me! What's the meaning of this? How dare you imply that I'm hiding who I really am? It's imperative that you confirm something for the court. Yeah, she was reacting, but the constant tea drinking, that animation is like never-ending tea. So please, it's time to drop the pretense now. What is it? When the fire started in your house that day, did you or your husband open the window? Well, I beg your pardon? What are you insinuating? The room would have been thick with smoke after the carpet and bookcase caught fire as they did. In a situation like that, it's inconceivable that you wouldn't have opened the window. And what if we did? Oh, alright then. Yes, you're right. My husband was frantically trying to open the window. Which can't have been easy since I continued to give him a justly deserved book battering. Oh, like, he said that you were constantly throwing fiery books at him? Even though your house is on fire? Oh, you never stop throwing until the anger subsides. It would be terribly bad for the nerves to do otherwise. That's the opposite! Like, speaking from experience, just raging non-stop. Not healthy. For you or people around you. Of course, I should have realized. That's a significant step forward, Mr. Naruhodo. You managed to establish that the window was open. You simply must have that added to Mrs. Garadeb's formal statement. Now you mention it, yes, the window was open at the time. I clean forgotten, but it's true. Tell me more. The fourth book found at the scene of the crime shows very obvious signs of fire damage. And the title of the book is The Lion's Pride. The same title, in fact, as the book that Mr. Garadeb told us he had been reading. Excuse me.
Well, I really couldn't say.
What kind of tea are you drinking? On the day in question, did you or did you not throw at your husband the copy of The Lion's Pride that he had been reading? Hopefully organic. Hope so.
I did.
It was the first thing I could lay my hands on, so I hurled it straight at him. And now you come to mention it, yes. He was rather enjoying reading it, you're right. You just snatched it out of his hands and chucked it at him? Why did you not reveal this information to the court from the outset?
Because I couldn't, you insolent little man. I didn't remember.
At times like that, you pick up and throw whatever you can lay your hands on, as well you know. Maybe calm down first before you do that. I really don't. Barely knows I was throwing a book. Excuse me?
Excuse me.
Everybody's reacting. What is it, juror number 5? You know something? I'm just posing for a magazine. I remembered what it was. That memory I blocked out. Another fire? Well, it was listening to what this granny was saying. She's not that old, is she? Brought it all flooding back. Who are you? Oh, she's talking right at him. Who are you calling her granny, you cheeky devil? I'm Mrs. Garridebble, the maid, I'll have you know. The man doesn't even flinch. Please tell me that's not because he's so used to being hit all the time. Oh, God. Bad marriages everywhere. It's about 2 weeks ago now. I just got back home after work, like. I put my hand in my pocket for the wages I just earned that day, and I nearly died. There was a hole. Every last penny oh, God. What a disaster indeed. You haven't heard the half of it, boy. Huh? The wife was cutting up some chicken at- Oh my God! Yeah. Cell Block Tango Ace Attorney Edition. I could hardly get the words out, but I told her straight. I've lost a day's wages, love. Next thing I knew, the blade was whistling past my ear. Stuck in the wall next to me, it did, about an inch deep. Is your wife a professional knife thrower? No words. Just terror. I could smell it then, you know. That god-awful stench of the times. I thought he was about to say it, the god-awful stench of raw chicken. I was sure I was going to end up face down in the muddy banks that night, I can tell you. Now, that's a real disaster, isn't it? I'll never use the words lightly again. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is this. When women lose their rag... Was this before or after rag became slang for menstruation? They'll throw anything at you. Knives, hatchets, hammers, you name it. This is very worrying. It's like boomer speak. Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't think that all women are so short-tempered and unrefined. No, I wasn't thinking that. Throwing household objects at people is, well, it's so uncivilized. At least attack with honor, using a bow or the like. Or your bare hands like you did with your Susato takedown. What? Attack? Where are you going to attack? Never mind. Anyway, this man's words could be rather significant, I think. Alright, we'll come back to the bow and arrow thing later. If I dare. Woman in a rage will hurl almost anything. The kitchen knife really brought that home to me.
Hold it!
Your wife really threw a kitchen knife at you? That's right, she was chopping meat with it. Had a tidy edge on it, believe me. Still, it's all memories, isn't it? It started with that smile she threw at me when we were courting. And since then, the list of things she's thrown at me has grown along with our relationship. Maybe you need counseling! There was a cup, a glass, a pot, a kettle, a chair, a wardrobe, a cooker, a bathtub! Your wife must be even beefier than you. And things came to an end last week when she threw me right into the Thames. Still, she's not so bad when she's calmed down. She's a little sweetheart, really. I'm so happy for you. I'm also learning I should never get into a straight marriage. Have If you want to know what I think this whole idea of ladies first that we're so obsessed with in this country was thought up by some clever lads who'd been tossed into the Thames a few too many times by their wives. Is the Thames, like... Okay, I'm dumb. Is Thames a very famous river in the UK? That's a very interesting theory. What a terrible thought. On the face of it, this juror's statement just sounds like a really extreme anecdote. But I think it might turn out to be an extremely powerful weapon. A weapon I might be able to use to make the jurors accept an alternative explanation. Whoa. Alternative explanation, eh?
Objection!
Those two statements clearly have a deeply significant connection. She's like, oh dearie me, it's cold. Good grief, you mean they don't contradict each other? Explain, counsel, at once. Juror number 2, do you think perhaps that this could be one such novel alternative? Oh, my, whatever do you mean? An alternative explanation as to how the victim was stabbed in the back. Knife throwing gone wrong. What are you talking about? We've demonstrated that the 4th book, The Lion's Pride, that was found at the scene of the crime, originated in Mr. Garadeb's room on the top floor of his house. Wait. Can we also look into the knife? Okay, hold on. The edge of it, like, well, the tip is gone. Can we address that? Can we address that later, please? Or soon? Therefore, it's equally possible that some other object besides the book could have found its way from the Garadeb household to the street below. What's that now? Miss Garadeb, were you looking into a knife-throwing career? After all, Mrs. Garadeb could have thrown any number of different objects at her husband. Isn't that right, juror number 4? What are you insinuating now, you little beanpole? I'm beginning to think that ever since the true origins of this book came to light, perhaps she's had a feeling this might be what happened. Now you listen here, you... As a foreman of this jury, I demand a straight answer. I'd much rather give you a gay one, since apparently the straight ones, they result in knife throwing and wives attacking their husbands. You give us this yarn about some other object making its way out of the house, but what? What was it? I'm really taking a big gamble here. That was a bold accusation to make, but I haven't any real evidence to back it up. I'm certain that at the very least, this warrants further investigation. Alright, Mr. Foreman. I'll try to explain the defense's theory. The other object that found its way from the Garadeb household to the scene of the crime. But first... Has to be, right? Wait.
Take that!
Juror number 4, Mrs. Garadeb. Whoa! What now? I must apologize in advance for this. But I need you to confirm something else for the court. This knife. Have you ever seen this knife before?
Good Lord, counsel, what on earth are you doing? That's the weapon that was lodged into the victim's back, man.
Exactly! My lord, remember that when the victim was attacked, Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb were in the throes of an argument. Mrs. Garadeb was hurling anything she could throw at her husband, who'd been backed up against the window. And I mean anything! A window that had been opened to clear the smoke, and through which a book sailed to land at the crime scene. You can't seriously believe that! That book was found in the victim's grasp! Well, the book could have fallen on the floor, and she could have gone, huh? What's this? Are you saying that I flew out of the window and across the street to land neatly in her hand? Even my missus hasn't got a name like that. Yes, I admit. There are many details we don't yet understand. But that's the point. That's precisely why. We must not allow this trial to end. Not right now. Oh my! Oh! Mrs. Garadeb, your answer, please. Have you seen this knife before or not? Ooh, oh. I think I killed her. My lord. I wish to change my decision. That was fast. I'm a woman of my word, after all. Thank you, madam. Yes, I agree. I certainly didn't see this coming, but... I just don't think it would be right for this trial to come to an end now with so many unanswered questions. Mr. Foreman? Why do I see... What's his face? Von Zeke's barging like, hey, you idiots! I got another witness! I'd have to agree. Not that I think the granny didn't mind. Yes, you know what? I'm not quite happy about this at the moment either. All together now, ladies and gents. Start a new murder trial for attempted murder. We did it. Hold up. Does this mean we bring in the maid as another witness and they find a new juror? Oh, congratulations, Mr. Naruhodo.
Sure, as a result of the French's summation examination, a number of jurors' leanings have changed. 2 jurors called guilty, against 4 now calling innocent.
Wait, who's calling... What's it? Wait. The maid and Grandpa?
Accordingly, the opinion of this court is divided. And this trial will continue.
Okay, it is Grandpa.
Now then, Lord Van Zeeks, how does the prosecution wish to proceed?
I need to be drunk first. This trial is rapidly descending into a farce. Like a corked wine, the first few sips are bitter enough. There he goes again! But what follows is so repugnant is good for nothing save the gutter. If I may, Lord Van Zeeks. Fez has just put forward a credible alternative explanation for what happened. Credible? Is that your considered opinion, Mr. Foreman? The defense's argument is a joke to which I barely know how to respond. But let me start by insisting. You must all familiarize yourself better with the relative positions of those places being discussed. What do you mean by that? Oh god, what's his angle this time? It should already be more than apparent that between the crime scene and the Garadeb household runs a rather wide street, Briar Road. I mean, Miss Garadeb has a heck of an arm, which means that the distance from the Garadeb's house to the scene is some, 15 yards. Dang, that's a lot. Let me see, 15 yards. That's around 14 meters. 14 meters? That's a little farther than I imagined. Mrs. Garadeb could be a baseball player. She could throw baseballs. And, as you ladies and gentlemen of the jury rightly noted as having portentous significance, the 4th book was found in the victim's clutches. In other words, the smoldering book wantonly hurled by the lady of the house traveled some 15 yards to land on the opposite side of the road, neatly between the collapsed victim's fingers and thumb. Again, the book could have fallen on the road. She could have seen it, gone, hey, what's this? Bent down and picked it up. Is that your final conclusion, my learned and deluded friend? And did the jackknife follow a nearly identical trajectory to plunge into the middle of the victim's back? This fantasy is somewhat stretching the notion of having a bad day for the victim, I think. Even those pathetic serialized detective stories have more believable plots. So you hate, what's his face? Herlock Sholmes as much as Natsume does. There's nothing I can say that prosecutor... that prosecutor loves the sound of his own voice. Mrs. Sato. Serialized detective stories are... Oh, no. Susato's, now's not a good time for fangirl. Serialized detective stories are pathetic, are they? How dare he? Maybe let's pick our battles here. Thank you. My lord, might I be allowed to speak?
As judicial assistant, you may speak for the defense, yes. Go ahead.
I must defend Senpai! The prosecution may consider the idea a fantasy, but what the defense has postulated was believable enough to persuade the jury to change its leaning. And as such, the court has a duty to explore this alternative explanation as thoroughly as possible. To that end... are you okay? Juror number 4, Mrs. Joan Garadeb, must be called to testify and submit to cross-examination.
Saints alive! A cross-examination of a juror?
I'm surprised too. Like, are you gonna replace it with another juror?
Order! Order! Well, this is highly irregular. It is unprecedented for a member of the jury to be summoned to the witness stand.
Objection!
Again? You're gonna have a very angry gallery. and unnecessary.
Lord Van Geeks?
There are already witnesses in the stand whose testimony the defense may further cross-examine. We could bring the maid in as well, like, I could cross-examine all 3. If my learned friend's farcical theory has any truth in it, then both a burning book and a jackknife must have flown through the sky before this couple's eyes. And we must assume they would be able to testify accordingly. Pep, pep. Pep, pep.
What say your witnesses?
Pep, pep. Yes, sir! Constable Rolly Beat reporting for duty, sir! Oh, the silly music. Well... Good morning, officer. Sorry for dozing until now, sir. I haven't slept for a month. Oh my god, how are you alive? If memory serves right, a person can't stay fully awake for about maybe a week or so before, like, just keeling over dead. I haven't slept for a month on account of a villain who's appeared on my beat, sir. Oh, they're so heroic, these London bobbies. The longest 200 hours! Jeez! Patricia, my darling, I've been neglecting you, but no more! Oh, Rolly, my hero, you make me swoon! Very well. Oh, I thought it was... Okay, maybe I've got the numbers wrong. I thought it was a week, like, before you keel over dead.
Very well. I hereby reject...
Are you fucking kidding me? Oh.
In order the witnesses in the stand to testify again. State forthwith before the court any details pertaining to the defense's alternative explanation of events.
He wasn't the same person afterwards, it was impressive. Oh boy. Yes, sir! Fuck you, Judge! Are you gonna nibble on your string there?
Constable Breach...
This case has nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb. Believe me, a London bobby is good for his word. You see, sir, the windows on the top floor of the Garadeb houses are top-hinged casement. What? I forgot the voice I gave her. Obviously, if anything had been thrown out the window, we would have seen it. I did leave the scene to go and fetch help, but my trusty Rolly was there to make sure nothing was disturbed. I didn't take my eye off the crime scene for one moment, sir. Nothing strange to report on that front, sir.
Well, this is quite startling. Top hinged casement windows.
Sorry, I'm trying to think. I'm so used to the windows where you open it by lifting from the bottom, and it just goes, like, vertically upward. Top hinged. Is it? Maybe they'll explain it. British police have a reputation for being bad at their job. Very. That detail was not in the police report, Constable. Oh! He's like, oh, Lord Fantasix is looking at me, sir. Ooh. Yes, sorry about that. I must have been a little drowsy. You cannot excuse your sins with drowsiness every time, Constable. No, sir. Sorry, but... What exactly is a top hinged casement window? Thank you for asking for me. And you cannot excuse your ignorance with such trite remarks, my learned friend, sorry. Of course. Sorry. I found it, Mr. Naruhodo. Cast your mind back to the windows in Mr. and Mrs. Karadeb's room. I'll try. Imagination. Engage! So the window opens in order to allow air to circulate inside the house. Oh, like that. So if anything were to fly out of the window from Miss Karadeb throwing, it would either have to go through the furthest side, let me bring up the mouse, like around here, this area, or it would doink against the glass first and then go straight down. Oh, like your window. Cool. Is it... like... I don't know, like, maybe that high up, I can see the benefit for having those kinds of windows to prevent someone from falling out. That was always on... Real? Huh. Top hinge casement window swings open along the upper edge. I'm glad you've rectified your ignorance. A casement window's most prominent feature is its stay. A metal bar which prevents the window from being opened beyond a certain amount. Is that the hinge? The stay? It prevents it opening? This is all news to me. Absolutely correct, sir. In other words, if a book or knife would have been thrown through the open window, it would have clattered against the pane and fallen straight down to the pavement below. Oh, shit. You see the problem then? Good. Your education in Windows is complete. Now go start using Windows 10. There was never any possibility of either the book or the knife traveling 15 yards over the road. That is, unless the window pane had been shattered. Something we've discounted already. That can't be. Did you see that, Rowley? That young Japanese man just collapsed in agony. You see that, Rowley? We white people are better. Oh yes, my darling. I saw it. I saw it crumble before my... Oh, Rowley, you're so strong. Kill me? How is this happening? I haven't even started the cross-examination yet, and already my argument's been destroyed. Counsel, if you could drag yourself upright again, the court awaits your cross-examination. My lord. Oh good, another desperate situation. You know that, Miss Karadeb, do you have any of that stress-relieving tea? I need some. I need info. How can you say that for certain? Very good question, sir. And the answer is this. It has the noble founding principles of the force written on it as a reminder to all us policemen on our sworn duty. Hey, TVFG, how you doing? We're doing alright tonight. Anime Court is... It's kind of got... It's basically, for now, it's sort of a dumpster fire on a roller coaster, because every lead the main character Ryunosuke Naruhodo gets, it goes up in flames. He showed us that before, didn't he? Did he? I can't say I remember. Can we have it submitted to the court record? To patrol the streets of London town and uphold the pace of the common man. It's what the job's all about! Also, apologies for the horrible accents, I can't do them. I'm doing alright. Just been feeling a little tired lately, but not that new. And that's why I can stand here today beside my long-suffering wife. Long-suffering? No Judge Judy, Judge Jerry Springer. Pretty much. I tell you, Bobby's good for his word. While rubbing my tired eyes immediately. Sa! Oh, Rolly, you're so manly! Oh yeah, there are these lovebirds. Of course I am, my darling Patricia. Oh, Pat. Oh, Rolly. Why do I see their marriage ending in, like, throwing items? Like with the maid and with juror number 5. Or, yeah, it was 5. None of this is what I meant. I meant, how can you say for certain that this case has nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Karateb? I see, sir. You should have said so earlier, sir. Yeah, well, so could you answer the question? That was a waste of time then. Absolutely, sir. I will answer to the fullest of my abilities, sir. There's a surprising reason why Mr. and Mrs. Karateb's domestic dispute can't be related to the case. The window. That'd be fine. Oh no, are you falling asleep? But before I get to that, sir, just one thing. Yes? I'd very much like you and all your countrymen to understand the great British institution of Scotland, So I hope you'll take back some tales of us London bobbies and how we uphold our guiding principles. I wasn't planning on going back just yet. I only just arrived here. So to that end, sir, I'd be happy to lend you my warrant card for your perusal. Thank you. But I must warn you, you won't be able to get through it without shedding a few tears. Thank you. I'll try. Okay, finally. It's not great, Brendan. Great, Virgil. Wait, wrong button. I could save anyway. Where's the... Okay, I don't plan on presenting, but... Where is that? Policeman will strive to preserve the peace within his allotted beat. A patrolling officer is expected to walk 20 miles around this beat every day for the furtherance of community relations. Their legs must be beefy. Any crimes under the jurisdiction in which they are discovered... Oh, any crimes fall under. When a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigation and help detectives. So, I'm guessing somewhere in your testimony you screwed that part up. I'm gonna take my eye off the crime scene for one moment. Nothing strange to report on that front. Okay, so Patricia left, and he stayed. By which you mean they don't open fully, is that correct? Yes, sir! They're just there to allow a bit of air through the wet house, you see. So they're restricted as to how much they open. And therefore, anything thrown out of the window from inside the room would simply strike the pane and fall to the street directly below. For clarity, allow me to mark the map. Here is the location where objects would have fallen. Maybe the victim actually got stabbed there, and they just dragged the body across the street.
Yes. Directly opposite the scene of the crime on the other side of the rather wide road.
Would it have been so hard for someone to mention this top hinged casement thing before? Well, I have another question for you, Constable.
And what would that be, sir?
How do you even know? Why would you have any idea what sort of windows Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb's house is furnished with? Crazier things have happened. Very true. I mean, wasn't there something about the constables, their main job was basically just janitor the streets?
Ah, well, sir, that's very simple. You see, I helped with the investigation yesterday.
Do you have something to say?
Excuse me.
He said what I said, word for word, minus 1 or 2. Do you have something to add, Mrs. Beat?
Sorry?
You look, well, delighted. Is there some particular reason for that?
Oh, I was just remembering, that's all. We really were so lucky.
Silly music. What do you mean?
Well, of course I feel terrible for the poor woman who was attacked. Don't misunderstand me, please. But we were just so lucky it didn't happen on Rolly's beat. It was so close, you see.
What?
Wait.
If it didn't happen on your beat, didn't you just say, like... Am I misreading it? What are these two? One's a London bobby, the other is his newlywed wife of 1 year, and they're like the oh lovey-dovey.
Oh yes, that street, Briar Road. That's the boundary between Rolly's beat and the next one.
Isn't that right, my love? Wakey wakey. Constable Beat. Yes, that's right. That's new animation. That's the reason I was helping out with interviewing the occupant of the Garadeb household yesterday. Wait. The boundary between Rolly's beat and the next one. Wakey wakey. So is it the beat he shared? Does he share half of Briar Road with the next guy? Your house is on my beat, you see? Sat. That really was cutting it close then. Constable, I wonder if you could clarify something. If the Garadeb household is on your beat, does that mean that the pavement next to it is as well?
Outside Mr. Garadeb's house? Yes, ma'am. The pavement on that side of the road is part of my beat.
I see, I was unaware of that.
Just think, if the woman had been attacked just on the other side of Briar Road, we would never have been able to go for that meal to celebrate our wedding anniversary.
Wait. The pavement next to it? Didn't it occur across the road?
But that's the life of a bobby, after all.
Extraordinary people are bobbies, tirelessly working for the benefit of all Londoners.
Do you know what I think? I think it was the good Lord's way of rewarding my roly-poly for all his hard work. I'm Christian, by the way!
Don't you think so, my darling?
That must be it, Pat, my love. That must be it.
I think perhaps we should make sure we have that information officially on record. Leave it to me, Mr. Naruhodo. I'll take care of it immediately.
Thank you!
The pavement where the victim was found lies just outside of Constable's Beat, the border which runs down the middle. Well, I didn't want to beat it.
And now it's my turn, I think.
Yeah, a lot of this really throws you for a loop. And the rest of the Ace Attorney series also does it. Okay, I forgot, the victim actually isn't dead. She's unconscious, and hopefully she doesn't actually die. Crap, did I already press this one?
Hold it!
But according to my notes here, the sun had gone down already and it was dark. And foggy! Oh, but Rolly and I were strolling along, gazing at the night sky and looking for our lucky star. That's an anime. Also, I think they're stuck in your eyes. Sorry. The star that will guide us to eternal happiness. Can't I guide you to answer the question? If a flaming book had cut across the sky in front of us. Oh, look, a shooting star! Boink! It lit up like a shooting star. And if I'd seen a shooting star, I would have made a wish upon it. Literally be an inspector, I would have said. 3 times at least. Of course, what with the smog and everything. Smog? I thought it was... Wait. I thought it was fog? I know smog is like a mixture of smoke and fog. We couldn't actually see any stars. In short, are you trying to say that neither a book nor a knife crossed the sky before you? Yes, sir! That is correct, sir! As sure as the night sky in London is starless, sir! Certainly seems like they're telling the truth. And then we saw the poor woman fall to the ground. We ran straight over to help her.
Hold it!
Yes, you said that you went to a nearby police box to fetch another officer, is that right? That's right, yes. If I had been on Rolly's feet, I would have known exactly where I was going, of course. Don't feel bad, my love. You can't be expected to know the location of every police box and every bait. So Rolly told me the way. Only, I sort of got a little lost on the way. Patricia, my darling! That's why I love you. Your terrible sense of direction is bewitching to me. Oh, Pat. Oh, Rolly! We'll get lost in the corn maze together. Oh, please. So I suppose I was gone for about 15 minutes. But like I said, my Rolly was at the scene the whole time, making sure nothing was disturbed. I was off duty at the time, of course, but a true Bobby is never really off duty, sat. Take my eyes off the crime. I feel like I need to present the map of... Because the way he's talking, he keeps saying his beat is on the opposite, like the west. It sounds like the west side, but the incident occurred on the east.
Hold it!
Let me just get some more info just in case. Nothing to report? That's correct, Sat. I had my eyes wide open at the entire time. Never looked away for a second, Sat. You're always sleepy, though. No one else approached the scene, and nothing was removed from it. I can swear to that on the yard's honor, Sat. Really? That seems a little strange. Beg your pardon, sir? Strange, sir? Seems altogether regular to me. This burnt copy of the Lion's Pride was originally in the Garadeb household. So the question remains, how did it find its way into the hand of the victim? Can you shed any light on that, seeing as you were at the scene of the crime the entire time? My current hypothesis is Mrs. Garadeb threw that book, it bounced off the window and landed directly down below their window. The victim was like, "Ooh, what's this on the floor?" And then either she went across the street and then was attacked, or she was attacked and then the person dragged her across the street. Aha! Could it be a different copy, sir? One that happened to be burnt as well, sir? Even if that were possible, why would the victim have been gripping a book like that in her hand? As you can see from this photographic print, she had a bag over her shoulder. My verdict is divine intervention. Sorry. Well, sir, that book was in the lady's hand from the moment we arrived at the scene. Is that so? There's something about this statement that's not sitting right with me. The two mysteries of how that knife ended up in her back and how that book ended up in her hand. There must be some common thread. Also, quick water break. Common thread paper cut. Oh no! Please don't tell me I used. Don't tell me I failed already. Can I ask you something, please, Mr. Lawyer, sir? Yes, of course. What is it? Oh, this again. You're doubting us, aren't you? I can tell. Wait, the last time she did this, she revealed a contradiction. What? I wasn't really... I mean, what's she doing? I'm guessing she's trying to play the gallery and the jurors, like, in her favor. Please, just because I'm a war. Okay. You might just see me as the wife of a policeman, but I'm a woman of my word, I am. Pop, pop. I really don't remember ever suggesting that I doubted you. No excuses. I don't want to hear it. My voice will be heard! Honey, you're giving me whiplash! My lord, you'll let me speak, won't you?
Yes, Mrs. Beach, I will allow you to supplement your testimony if you so desire.
A woman of my word who uses my husband as a shield and weapon.
Sometimes the path of least resistance is the sage one.
Is it? That was a very loud mutter.
I heard that. Honey.
That... Oh yeah, something else. Because of the time period this game takes place in, there's quite a bit of uncomfortable anti-Japanese racism, which is very ugh, but due to the time period, it kind of makes sense they would say all that. That Japanese man thinks a policeman's wife's words count for nothing, does he? Oh, watch out, sir! Pop, pop. I might let you get away with something like that. Pop, pop. But my Rowley won't. Duly noted, Mrs. Pete. Oh yeah. Funny. Actually, I think they're actually wearing the same scarf, and it's just a really, really long thing. Please, I humbly ask you to continue. What could she possibly be about to say, I wonder? I know what I saw. My eyes never fail me. My sense of direction is a little off sometimes, though. Is it? I didn't take my eyes... 10 feet. Compared to the racism in this to red... 8, yeah.
Hold it!
Like, I don't know, I'll need to see, like, if the game could give me a view of them, of the two from the back, you might be able to see that the scarves are connected. Mrs. B, nobody is questioning what you've told us. I saw what I did! That evening, I saw it clearly! Pop, pop. These whiskers and funny curved backs linking away from this. If I didn't know any better, it sounds like you're talking about a cat. And I know what I didn't see. I know what I didn't see as well. I didn't see any flaming books or knives flying through the sky. All very clear. You also mentioned something about having a poor sense of direction. Oh yes, well, that's a little embarrassing, really. I'm always ending up in the wrong place when I've made arrangements to meet Rowley. Rowley, I'm here to meet you! Honey, where are you? I'm at London, where are you? I'm seeing a leaning tower! Is that Italy?
Excuse me!
Constable Beat, is there a problem? Wakey, wakey, you're on trial! Well, technically you're not on trial, but you're in a trial. No, sir, no problem, sir. Did your wife's remark just now bring something to mind?
Oh, well, in a way, sir. Yes, sir. I was just remembering that the same thing happened that evening is all.
Her sense of direction is worse than mine. Mrs. Beat lost her way on the night of the incident.
Well, you see, I sent her off to find a police box in the next beat over from mine. But she was gone a fair bit longer than what I was expecting. I thought she'd be back inside 10 minutes, but my darling was gone a good 15. Oh, Rolly, you're such a tease. But the reason I was so long was because of the bouquets.
Bouquet?
Yeah,
Okay, what? Even Rolly doesn't know. Sorry, what bouquet are you talking about?
It was a present for our wedding anniversary. Rolly's so romantic. He saved up for... He's sleepy. With farthings and half pennies? Half pennies? He found in the gutter while doing his rounds.
The way he's reacting, either he's like, "Oh, honey, you're making me blush," or, about all that money, honey, I kind of lost it. How romantic.
I'd forgotten all about it just until now. Had you, my darling?
Oh, yes. But that was just between us.
No talking about to anyone else.
Darling, you have to promise.
Really? Oh.
Oopsie poopsies. What was that all about? Constable Beat looked very obviously troubled during that exchange. Something about keeping a bouquet a secret? I'm afraid I can't offer any useful insight, Mr. Naruhodo. But I'm quite sure of one thing. We have to ask Mrs. Beat about the bouquet. Mrs. Beat, this bouquet you just mentioned. I'd like you to add details about it to your testimony, please.
Oh, really? Yes, I'd love to.
Stabby Rose. Death by rose thorns. What happened was, I dropped my bouquet and ended up losing my way for a while.
Hold it!
Red Dead Redemption factions? You mean you dropped the bouquet at the scene of the crime? Oh, I just, imagine if it was the wedding, toss the bouquet, see who gets married next, whee! The victim catches it, but no, there was a knife in there, oh no!
Yes, that's right. Oh, I was so upset. When we ran over and saw it was a woman with a knife in her back, I was so shocked I dropped the bouquet Rolly gave me. It was in a dark spot where the streetlights weren't casting any light, so I didn't notice at first.
And then you went to the police box to report it to the policeman whose beat it was on? That's... Okay, something I'm noticing about these sentences is that, sometimes it feels like they're using 100 words to say what just 10 words can do.
Yes, and I came back to the scene together with the other constable, you see. That's when I spotted my bouquet again. But the funny thing was, when I went to pick it up, it was nowhere near the victim's body at all.
In case you need reminding, Mrs. Beat, the victim is not deceased.
I was all flustered for a moment before I heard a voice calling me from the other side of the road. Oh, Patty!
Your husband, presumably?
That's right. Silly me, I got over to the wrong side of the street. Although I'm going to blame the bouquet this time, I can't think how it got there. I really can't.
So the bouquet somehow moved from one side of Briar Road to the opposite. Wind? Sorry, so I was thinking maybe the winds were strong enough, but then I remember, wait, what about the body?
Curious indeed.
Isn't it? But the worst of it is, I forgot to pick the bouquet up again when we left the scene. That beautiful rose Rolly bought me, but that changed from the gutter he spent so long collecting.
By bouquet, do you perhaps mean this sorry solitary rose? Unless there was a knife in there. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't say it's a bouquet, but it still looks pretty.
Ew! Ew! Yes, that's it. Yeah, that's a bouquet Rolly bought me for our anniversary, with old bits of change he found in the gutter.
Honey,
Help! Help me!
Maybe just call it a rose. Is it gonna be added to evidence?
Tell us, Lord Evangelix, where did you come by that flower?
According to the report by the police officer in charge of the crime scene investigation, it was found on the edge of the pavement in front of Garadeb household. In front of the Garadeb's house? Although it wasn't noticed until the morning, as it lay where the street lamps cast no light, it was believed to be of no relevance to the case, since it was found on the opposite side of the thoroughfare.
Oh, thank you, sir, thank you. Could I have it back now, please?
No, it's evidence!
No, I think for good measure, this rose should be added to the court record as evidence.
Oh! It's a simplified love!
Your scarf! How about the scarf?
I want it back after the trial! Do you hear me? I want it back! Me too, honey. Just stop tugging!
Good grief! Rest assured, I shall do my very best not to forget, Mrs. Beat.
I just imagine like he's holding the rose, but he fumbles with it and it lands in the fire. Not. Oh, wait, can I see? It's wrapped up in newspaper. It's gonna have so many fabric burns. It's very stylish paper the flower's wrapped in, isn't it? It's a newspaper. Yeah, it's just an old newspaper, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, I suppose because I'm not used to seeing English prints. It looks so exotic to me. I see. Is something wrong? No, I was just thinking that if you wrapped a stone-baked sweet potato in English newspaper, it might look like some sort of fancy cake. Eh? Sasada-san, you do love your cakes. Brain cells! An English rose. It's such a beautiful flower. This is a rose, isn't it? I've never seen one before. Did they? Sorry, I don't know anything about flowers, but I'm guessing there aren't any roses in Japan? Do you not take an interest in flowers, Mr. Naruhodo? I wouldn't say that exactly, but I do know 3 types at least. Gosh, 3? Yes, plum blossom, peach blossom, and cherry blossom. Perhaps you should consider branching out, but learning some that aren't fruit tree based, for example. Is there anything else here? Can I look at the twining? Or does it not count? Is there really nothing new? Like, I can't unfurl it or anything? Or maybe there's something hidden in the petals? Come on! Bing, bing, bing! Do I have to aim it directly over the knot? God damn it! Nothing to... Wait, did I already ask him this? Oh, I have asked about this already. Book was in her hand the moment they arrived. The rose, maybe? Well, Mr. Naruhodo, what do you make of all this? I have no freaking clue. The whole idea of an invisible attacker has been troubling me all along. But I believe I'm starting to get a picture of what really happened here now. The fourth book that had no business being at the scene of the crime made me sure that Mrs. Garrett was hiding something from us. But it's becoming increasingly clear that someone else has been hiding something from us as well. I think I may already be armed with everything I need to strike a decisive blow here. I don't know! This time, it's gonna expose the whole truth about this mysterious affair. Yeah, dang it, wrong button.
Objection!
Fuck. I agree, I don't know what was happening. Sorry, I was just speeding through because I know I got... Like, if the music doesn't stop, then you didn't ding dong, you're wrong.
Objection!
Damn it. Wait. Maybe he would have noticed it?
Objection!
Fuck. Wait. Oh, I got it! Yes! You claim, Constable Beat, there was nothing to report in the 15 or so minutes you were guarding the scene. That can't be. Wake up! What do you mean to say? In your testimony just now, Mrs. Beat, you explained to the court that when you arrived back at the scene of the crime with the policeman assigned to the beat, the bouquet you had dropped at the victim's side was no longer anywhere nearby. I didn't see the no, and I was like, was longer anywhere. Also, dang, I probably should have noticed that. Like, oh, there was nothing off there. What about that bouquet?
Objection!
Or that rose? Yes, on the opposite side of Briar Road, where the victim was attacked. But considering the size of that meager bouquet, if a single sorry bloom can be so described. No doubt it was blown in the wind across the street, back into the gutter where it belongs. In a way, it looks like he's trying to grab at the rose. Meeker?
Objection!
But if that were the case, why did Constable Beat not testify to the fact? Was it to keep it a secret? Because he was like, honey, don't mention it. No one else approached the scene and nothing was removed from it. Constable Beat swore to that on Scotland Yard's honor. But the bouquet belonged to me! It has nothing to do with the case! That's why Rolly didn't mention it, I'm sure. No. Because sadly, it's not only your bouquet we are talking about here. More than one thing in this case is mysteriously the wrong way round. What are you talking about? Think about it. Besides Mrs. Beat's bouquet, there's Mr. Garrett's book. Mr. Garrett's copy of The Lion's Pride, which was thrown out of the window by his wife, would have struck the pane of the casement window and landed here on the west side of the street. And yet, it was actually found here on the opposite side of the road in the victim's hand. Again, like I said, like I was thinking, maybe the victim was on the other side of the maybe either on the other side of the road. It's like, oh look, a book! Oh no, it's burning! I better run across the street! Meanwhile, according to the testimony we've heard, Mrs. Beat's bouquet... Oh, they swapped! Should have been dropped here at the scene of the crime, on the east side of the street. But in fact... they wound up there! It was found here on the opposite side of the road, in front of Mr. and Mrs. Garrett's house. Some very strong winds must have blown it that way. There's no logical explanation for those things. Unless somebody deliberately moved them. See, right there, the scarves are connected.
Blip, blip.
What are you trying to say? The way you're talking, it sounds like you think my Rolly's done something wrong.
Honey, I might have to confess something.
Don't you listen to a word that scrawny lawyer says? We're talking on about books and bouquets. Why should we care? It's nitpicking, that's what it is. Oh good, Mrs. Garrett's come around. You might call it nitpicking, Miss Garrett, but deliberately meddling with the scene of a crime is a criminal offense. It's called, crap, what's this phrase called again? Like something crimes... Okay, tampering, that was it. Grandpa! But the person responsible for this tampering cannot admit to it, for a very subtle but compelling reason.
Objection!
Tampering? You've barely heard the term before. Tell us, my learned friend, who would possibly have had cause to carry out such an elaborate deception? There is someone who tampered with the scene of the crime that evening. All the evidence and all the testimony points to that one particular person. Rolly?
Counsel, I must demand that you substantiate this conjecture. Who are you saying is responsible for tampering with the scene of the crime?
My assistant! Oh yeah, I briefly forgot who this guy was. He's the detective. As for... he's the only one I could think of. Because if she left and got lost, then he was all by himself.
Take that!
Obviously, there's only one person it could have been. Constable Rolly Beat, it was you!
What? A policeman? A member of Scotland Yard?
Police corruption is a lot more common than you think. What nonsense! Why would my Rolly do something like that?
Blip, blip.
There's no one straighter than my husband. He's straighter than a paperclip that doesn't work anymore. No bummy works more tirelessly for the people of London. He's straighter than a boomerang that's broken. Mrs. Beat, there's no one caring than me. You said in your testimony that your husband asked you to go to a nearby police box to fetch the officer on duty. The 15 minutes that you were absent from the scene is the only opportunity anybody would have had to tamper with it.
You're making it up. It's all nonsense. It's all lies. What about the with the whiskers? It was him. He did it. Pap, pap.
Objection!
If that was true, Constable Beat would have seen him do it.
Oh,
And forgive me for pointing it out, but when you dropped your bouquet, Mrs. Beat, it was after the defendant had fled.
well.
Oh, are you a conspirator?
Objection!
First, you make accusations about the landlord and his wife, and now you incriminate a policeman as well? But your accusations lack one very important thing. Motive? You claim the crime scene was tampered with. But there is only one reason anyone would commit such a reckless crime: to hide something.
That's right. He's right. But my husband and I just happened to be there. That's all. So why would we have anything to hide? It doesn't make any sense. Yes.
Well, Why would he tamper with the crime scene? Either one, maybe to sort of, I don't know, maybe do something about that rose. Two, maybe he, either it was outside his beat and he wanted it to be, or it was inside his beat and he just didn't want the job. You offered no motive for this alleged tampering. And until you do, your accusations are nothing but empty threats. Constable Beat had a very good reason for wanting to tamper with the scene of the crime. That's the key to this entire affair.
Mr. Naruto, have you managed to solve this mystery?
Don't tell me it's one of the whole, you see, Rolly was cheating on his wife with the maid. Is it gonna be one of those?
Counsel, you have made a very serious accusation against a London police officer. If you are mistaken, I'm sure I need not point out that your reputation as a lawyer will be irrevocably damaged. With that stark warning in mind, you will now explain to the court the motive for this alleged tampering.
Yes, my lord. First, Constable Beat's motive for tampering with the scene of the crime was to hide the book, the bouquet, the victim. I want to say, part of me thinks it might be the victim, but they could pull the argument of that Rolly is like a twig and the victim is a bit hefty. Not sure what. I'm gonna go for victim, and if it's wrong, I can either do another try or just reload, because the way I'm struggling with this case, I'm guessing I'm gonna lose those 3 lives pretty quick. Where the victim fell to the ground. That is what this Bobby had to cover up, at all costs! What?
Where the victim fell? You mean where she was attacked?
Doink doink.
What are you talking about? We told you at the very start, didn't we? The pavement of Briar Road. We saw it happen, remember? It was right here, as if anyone didn't already know.
That's certainly what everybody has been led to believe. But in fact, that isn't where the victim was stabbed at all.
What? Ah!
beginning to wonder where this tumultuous trial will end, Counsel.
If that's your assertion, then this court is dying to know, my nice new friend. Where are you proposing that a crime actually took place that evening?
Has to be, right?
Take that!
But that's on the opposite side of the road?
Why did the chicken cross the road? Because someone was stabbed there and they had to move the body. I don't understand.
Rolly, are you... Rolly? On the evening in question, Mr. Garadeb's book fell directly down from the open window above, and your bouquet, Mrs. Beat, never moved at all. What did move was the scene of the crime itself.
Good gracious!
Objection!
Perhaps you haven't been listening to the ample testimony the court has heard. But these witnesses both saw the moment the attack took place.
Rolly, are you preparing your final form? That's right, I saw it with my own eyes.
It was 5 o'clock in the evening and already dark. There was the typical London fog on the ground. When he saw the incident unfold and ran to the victim's aid, that was actually on the west side of Briar Road.
No, that's not true. It can't have been.
Constable Beat then arranged for you to be absent for a while by sending you for help. And during the 15 minutes you were away, he transplanted the crime scene. He moved all the things shown in this print. The victim herself, the 4 books. He moved everything, in fact, to the pavement on the east side of Briar Road.
Extraordinary.
But the constable overlooked one thing.
What did he overlook?
The bouquet, I presume.
Yep. Exactly.
The prosecution told the court just a few minutes ago about the discovery of the rose bouquet. Lord Van Zeek said,
It was noticed until the morning as it lay where the street lamps cast no light. Do I sound like that? Yes, it couldn't be seen in the dark, obviously.
which is why it was only the bouquet that was found in its original position, on the pavement on the west side of Briar Road. And that is the defense's theory about what really happened that evening. How do you respond, Constable Rolly Beat?
Wakey, wakey! I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to nod off again, but I haven't slept properly in a month. Yep. You picked a great time to fall asleep, buddy. Oh, Rolly! It isn't true, is it? What that lawyer said is all lies, isn't it? I know it is, because you're the most upstanding, righteous man I know. I had a dream. A terrible dream. All the things I did that night. Everything come out. Everything expressed. Wait. Oh, dang. Only ashamed. It wasn't a dream at all. Were you sleepwalking then?
Good golly.
What, is it sleepwalking or you have an alternate persona? Briar Road, I never thought about that.
What on earth is the meaning of all this?
Oh, Rolly, why? Why would you do something like this? Moving a corpse is a criminal offense, isn't it? They're not dead.
Wishing the victim dead should be one too.
Constable, explain yourself. Why would you do this? As a respected member of Scotland Yard, your duty is to protect the good people of London town.
I can't say, sir.
Oh, jeez. Like, why am I imagining some sort of Yu-Gi-Oh thing where in Season 0, Bakura, Rio Bakura, or Bakura, depending on how you like to pronounce it, He had the Millennium Ring, and it was like, I have these weird points where I think I'm sleepwalking, but it turns out this evil dude takes over my body and does things. Can't say so. What? I really am ever so sorry about all this. For damaging the Yard's reputation. For everything. Is it a cover-up to make... Is it a racist cover-up? I have a possible explanation. Oh shit! For why on that particular evening, Constable Beat felt compelled to move the scene of the crime. I can think of one reason. What? How could you possibly know? You, a foreigner, presuming to understand the mind of a Scotland Yard policeman.
And yet, Lord Van Cheeks, it is this foreigner who has uncovered the startling truth of the matter thus far.
In other words, get fucked.
I believe it would be beneficial to the courts to hear this extraordinary young lawyer's theory. Counsel for the defense, if you please.
Yes, my lord.
Now then, I think I'd better show us some evidence.
At once. In a second. Some wine. Von Zieks is sitting at his desk like, I'm not drunk enough for this. Or I'm too sober for... Or I'm too sober for this. England, Japan, it makes no difference where you come from. Human emotions are the same. And I think I have a fairly good idea of the feelings behind this man's actions.
What gives away the motive for Constable Beat's unthinkable actions?
It has to be, right? Like, it has to be this. Maybe... He didn't mention he hasn't slept in a month, so it rapidly saves you up. Show us evidence is key for start saving your game. Like, I'm feeling it's the warrant card, because, like, he's all, like... He's a London bobby, but he hasn't slept in a month, so maybe he wanted a break?
Take that!
I realize that I'm a foreigner in this land, and I have only just arrived from Japan, which is why all this information about London's so-called bobbies is completely new to me. I've learned that, though honorable, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world, for example.
Keeping the peace, looking after the citizens of his beat in all kinds of ways. There's no doubt that the young bobby is charged with a great deal to do each day, certainly. They're basically the janitors.
But for Constable Beat, the day in question was special. Oh, the anniversary! I honestly was thinking it was because he wanted a break.
Special? How?
Wait, did I present the warrant or the rose? On account of this bouquet, my lord. Oh yes, it was our very first wedding anniversary. Constable Beat had worked so hard to be able to afford the simple gift for his wife, and was so looking forward to taking her out for a celebratory meal. When he and Mrs. Beat stumbled upon a crime along Briar Road. When he saw that shadowy figure through the fog collapse on the pavement ahead of them, what must have gone through the man's mind?
But sir, just on that one particular day, I was looking forward to celebrate my wedding anniversary. Mrs. B pulled up with the law of being married to a bobby like me. I want to show my dear wife how much I care.
This is the warrant card that Constable Beat offered to lend to me earlier. Okay, so I did present that. Inside, among the rules for patrolling policemen, it says, when a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations and help detectives.
Oh-ho!
Constable Beat. Is that or is that not the reason why you moved the whole scene of the crime that day?
Hey, come on, wake up!
Yes.
everything you said. It's alright.
So that's it. It was all to do with the boundary of your beat.
Oh,
Exactly. To summarize, the incident actually occurred on Constable Beat's beat.
Good gracious! Constable, do you realize the gravity of what you've done?
it was the first time since I became a copper. I just wanted to get fun and busy with my wife! And I'd ever cursed God.
Oh, wow.
Stay close to me, Pat. The criminal could still be lurking somewhere. As we ran over to the scene, I had every intention of doing my duty as a police officer. It's like I am with my wife. I really love my wife. Fuck! There's a crime scene. I've got to report this to the station as quickly as possible. But then it dawned on me. I realized where we were, where the victim was lying, and what that meant for me. When a crime is discovered on this beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations and help detectives. Why here? Why does it have to happen here? And why tonight, of all nights? You could postpone your wedding anniversary party. Why? Happy wife, happy life, even when crime commits. The copper's job is got to see the crime, so I told Pat she'd have to go to the nearest police box and fetch whoever was on duty there. It was then, when I opened my mouth to speak, it just came out. I couldn't believe the words that were coming out of my own mouth. This is the next beat to mine, Pat. So you'll have to go to the police box that covers it. Turn right along Meerschaum Street, and then... Oh, Susanna! Oh, he's crying! Oh! I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, Constable. I just wanted, just that one night, to take my Patricia out for dinner. Oh, Rowley. Just that one night. Don't commit the crime you can't eat alone. You knew that if the incident was on your beat, your evening of celebration would be ruined. And so you decided to move the entire crime scene outside your jurisdiction. Just across the street to the east pavement of Briar Road, which falls under the neighboring beat's care. Who is the neighboring beat anyway? Can we bring him in? You see, I thought... Well, I was sure the victim was dead, you see.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, of course he did! Otherwise, my Rowley would never have left the poor woman on the freezing cold pavement.
I see your meaning now.
But God got me back from my sins, didn't he? That's why I missed the rose I bought for Pat. Oh no, Rowley, that was all my fault. I should never have dropped in such a dark place. I'm so sorry, Rowley. Can we at least talk about the knife where it's missing the tip? You're reading death sentence. I understand what you mean. To the guillotine! And can you tell us, Constable, how many books did you move from the one side of the road to the other in total? 4 it was. Yes, sir. Definitely 4. 3 of them dropped by Mr. Natsume, and the 4th being the one that fell from the window upstairs in the Karadeb household. What? What made you place that book in the victim's hand? When all the others were scattered haphazardly around, I mean. Good point. Oh well, sir. That's because that's how I found it. What? You found it in her hand? How you found it? What do you mean? When we first ran over to the scene, the victim was already holding the book. So, when I moved everything, I made sure it was still in her hand.
You're sure it was this book, The Lion's Pride, that the victim was holding?
Oh yes, sir. No doubt about it, sir. Am I gonna lose my job?
Interesting.
I thought it was an open and shut case at the time, you see. There were only the two people at the scene, and Pat and me both saw it happen. However which way you looked at it, it had to be the fellow who ran off who done it, I thought. I couldn't see the arm, really. I didn't think moving it all over the road would make a jot of difference. I suppose this is it for me now. I've had it. Give me the chair!
My lord?
Yes, Lord Van Zeeks?
I believe that concludes the cross-examination of the witnesses.
What about the maid? We still have questions.
Constable, you may withdraw.
Yes, sir. Mr. Prosecutor, sir. What will become of my Rolly? What will happen to him?
For now, you are free to go home. The police will contact you in due course.
Please, don't punish my hubby. This is all my fault. It's because I'm always moaning at...
Moaning?
Sorry, it's like, oh, Rolly! Come home, like... Leave it now, Pat. Let's go home. I'm tired. Alright then,
My love. One last thing, Constable.
Stop!
Let this be a lesson to you. In a criminal investigation, every detail matters, however insignificant it may seem to you.
Yes,
Carve that lesson in your mind. And never again make the mistake of tampering with the scene of a crime.
Never again, sir. You mean to say?
Leave. Now. This trial is not yet over.
Sir!
Well, quite a startling revelation, I must say. Whoever thought of a third party transplanting the entire scene of a crime like that?
Indeed, my lord. Nevertheless, there are some immutable facts here. Principally, that the accused, Mr. Soseki Natsume, is the only person who could have possibly have committed this crime.
Objection!
No, I disagree. Now that we know the true scene of the incident, there is someone else. Another person who could be responsible for the knife in the victim's back. Forgive me for being presumptuous, but I believe the prosecution is probably well aware of this possibility already.
Lord Van Zeeks, is this true?
Very well. Name the person, if you will. And if further investigation is warranted... The prosecution has no objection to the trial continuing.
You'll name this other person who could have perpetrated the crime. You are that. Wait. Oh well. Oh, this is the, she's the victim, and honestly, she, like, the way Virgil put it, she looks like Hana-chan from Yakuza 4, and in a way, to me, she looks a lot like Isabelle from Animal Crossing. It was Patricia! She did it! I don't know if this will allow it, or if it's gonna cost me a point.
Take that!
Yes! The defense would once again like to request a cross-examination of a new witness, my lord.
Once again?
My assistant made the same request earlier. In order to finally reveal the truth about this case. It is imperative that we cross-examine the juror number 4, Mrs. Joan Garadeb.
Me! Oh, dearie me!
Objection!
That request has already been denied.
Objection!
But the situation is very different now. Mrs. Garadeb, answer me this.
What do you want now, you little toad? Okay!
Sorry. At the time of the incident, you were engaged in a violent argument with your husband, Mr. John Garadeb. In the course of the argument, a minor house fire was ignited. And to clear the smoke from the room, your husband opened a window that looks out over Briar Road.
Well, what of it?
You threw this book at your husband when he was cornered with his back against the window. Upon striking the pane of the open top hinged casement window, the book plummeted directly down
And fell on the victim's head like that!
finding its way to what we now know to be the true scene of the incident.
Yes, and as I said, what of it?
During the argument, you were beside yourself with rage. As such, you threw not just books, but anything you could lay your hands on. Knives, glass bottles, cannons, streaming equipment. So let me ask you one more time, Mrs. Garadeb. This knife, the one removed from the victim's back, have you really never laid eyes on it before?
Ah! I don't recall it. That took a while. Seriously? Am I supposed to remember everything I picked up and threw at my husband? I mean, it's your place. It's your house. And anyway, the man over there in all that regalia said members of the jury needn't testify, didn't he?
Things have changed. Conveniently, yes.
Objection!
No, I have no recollection of saying that at all. Juror number 4.
Oh wow, you're on my side.
Ew! Make no mistake. You jurors are not special in any way. You are not immune to the judicial process.
Oh no, he's taking the knife!
If you know something about this knife, madame, let the truth come out.
But that's just a common old garden knife. It could have come from anywhere, so you do recognize it. We have several like that at home. You do recognize it. If one went missing, you do recognize it. How would you expect me to know?
What's that?
Are you joking?
What are you saying, please, Miss Garadeb?
Wait, did she just clarify? Wait, did she actually just, like, confirm she recognized it, or was I just jumping the gun?
Is that her?
Now you listen to me.
I refuse to believe all this nonsense. I couldn't bear the thought that I'd injured someone. Do you hear? I couldn't bear it.
I mean, you already slapped someone.
Oh, the poor woman. So, yes, I want evidence. I want to see hard evidence if you're going to insist on this being my fault. You're going to have to prove to me that I threw that knife if that's what you think. Come along now. Chop chop.
Do your worst.
Well,
Mr. Naruhodo? If I had evidence like that, believe me, I would have thrown it at her already.
quite literally, like she did.
Then take the stand, juror.
Oh!
The prosecution does not object to the defense's request to cross-examine this woman. Thank you, Lord Van Zieks.
I'm going to have to testify.
Come on up, juror number 4.
As I'm sure you will appreciate having observed it with your own eyes today. Witness testimony can lead to the most extraordinary truths being unearthed. Truths of which the witnesses themselves may not even have been aware.
Oh, dearie me.
So I demand your full and unadulterated testimony, Mrs. Garadeb. And mark my words, in this court of law today, we shall extract the truth by any means necessary. Do you concur, counsels?
Certainly, my lord.
Oh, that's what I was hoping for, my lord.
But are we gonna get a new juror to take her spot? It's such a strange feeling. For the first time since arriving in this country, it actually feels real. Is this gonna lead to a to be continued? I I'm here in the Old Bailey, and I'm a lawyer.
I'm a big boy now!
Witness, state your name and occupation.
Oh, yes, my name is Joan Garadeb. And well, I'm a juror, and such like.
Sounds like even she doesn't know if she's a housewife or a maid or what anymore.
The court has decided your testimony is required in order to clarify matters in this case. Do you understand, madame?
Yes, my lord.
You will tell the court everything that took place in your household on the evening in question. And I warn you, do not attempt to hide the truth.
Oh, dearie me.
Oh, that's a new animation.
She's so jiggly.
Her husband? John Garadeb? Chin up, Joni. Nothing to worry about now.
It is!
Oh, the slap mark on his face is gone.
Oh, I didn't know you were here, John.
Wasn't only you in the room that day, old thing, was it?
Her eyes!
She's like, oh, baby! Rather think I ought to testify as well, don't you? Oh yeah, he does look like a crescent moon. In fact, first time I saw him, he specifically had his head like angled in a way where you couldn't see a slap mark on his face. Replace one criminal couple with another. So, we'll show those beats who is the most romantically annoying. Rather think I ought to testify as well, don't you?
What about your knee, dear?
Don't you worry about that.
Hardly notice it. Ow, my knee!
I'm not the sort of chap to leave a comrade to face disciplinary action alone.
Oh, John!
I presume you are Mr. John Garadeb? Oh, yes, sir. Former second lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment of the 4th Northumberland Fusiliers, sir. Oh yeah, he also has this weird habit of stirring his tea with his pipe. Not sure if that's a good gesture for tea, but I guess whatever works for him. Seen my fair share of action and now living the quiet life, as it were. A quiet life. Were you not engaged in an incendiary battle with your spouse on the day in question? Well, yes, quite. I believe this may represent a first in the proud history of the British court. Oh, wait, wrong.
Calling a juror to the witness stand is unprecedented. However, the court will hear your testimony now, juror number 4, and that of your husband. You will recount clearly and concisely the events in your home at the time of the incident in question.
Sir, at once. Also, depending on when the next to be continued is, this stream session might take a while. The Battle of Garadeb. Yes, on the day you're referring to, the wife and I did have a bit of a skirmish. Can't recall the reason now.
I know the reason.
And don't play dumb that you can't recall it. Knocked a candlestick over and set fire to the carpet. Soon had it out, though, and got the window open. Meanwhile, I was picking up whatever I could find to throw at him. Plenty of knives around our place. Can't say I noticed if 1 or 2 went missing, I'm afraid. If that bully thing in the victim's back really was one of ours, you'll have a job proving it, I think. Just the tips. What else? Dang, there's nothing on here.
It sounds as though it was quite the battlefield in your household that evening.
Although an entirely one-sided assault, it seems. The enemy caught us on the hop, sir. Had no choice but to dig in and take defensive measures. To be honest, if the enemy had kept shelling us for another minute, we'd have been toast. Of course, a veteran such as myself is only too aware that on every battlefield you're just a gnat's whisker from death at any moment. Are we still talking about a marital quarrel here?
Well, I must say I'm dubious that this testimony will shed any light on the origins of this jackknife.
In combat, one's focus narrows such that surroundings are barely noticed. These witnesses may not be able to offer anything more than they have testified already. This may be the dead end. Van Zeeksme will be right. Well, whatever the chances, we only have this last cross-examination to uncover the truth, Mr. Naruhodo. How do you know it's the last one? I'm afraid so.
Very well, counsel. Begin your cross-examination.
Saving. I'm going to skip to the end to see what kind of input Susato can provide. Actually, wait. Dang it, I thought there'd be something on there. That's the extent of their testimony, is it? What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, I think we've heard all this before, to be honest. Can't say I'm particularly confident that we'll be able to prove anything new from this. But in this cross-examination, it's absolutely essential that we establish how this knife came to be at the scene of the incident. Yes, I know. I'm sure both of them must be feeling very worried. Worried that it was in fact a knife belonging to one of them that caused the victim's injury. If we could find even a tiny shred of evidence to support that theory, it would clinch this trial for us. It would explain everything. Yes, it would. So for Soseki-san's sake, we must find that last crucial piece of evidence. Okay, tell me everything. The reason is what you've told us yesterday, I believe. Yes, that's right. If I remember correctly, it all started because of a note that was tucked into the pages of a book belonging to Mr. Garadeb. A rather passionate note. But Mrs. Garadeb found the note, discovering her husband's little secret, even though we already established that the note was for someone else because it was a second-hand book. And she gave him a mighty number of slaps across the face for it, too.
What a sordid state of affairs.
Hell on her. I say, when Chapter can't recall such things, his commentations seem not to drag it on enough. And besides, half of it was wide of the marker, actually. Oh, he's shaking. A likely story. Oh, you don't have any tea. Oh, he doesn't have a teacup for you to like overpour scalding hot tea. These waters run very deep.
And what transpired next after these multiple blows to the face?
Hold it!
And the fire also spread to some items of furniture, didn't it? The bookcase, my armchair, anything of mine, really. Just so happened there was some bath water around that evening, so I sloshed that about to put it out. Please don't tell me it was gamer girl bath water.
A most precarious situation you put yourself in.
Ours is a 3-story townhouse on the west side of the street, where the water main isn't connected yet. Have to draw water from a public water pump during the day if you need any, you see. The lodgers are always moaning that they can't get any water at night. Although, that little mustached Japanese man buys water in bottles, I believe. They had water bottles back then? The defendant, Mr. Natsume, you mean?
Yes, he received a stipend for his studies, you know, from his home country. Can you imagine being able to brew a pot of tea at all hours? He's obviously very well off.
Have you actually seen the state of the man and his apartment? Seriously, his apartment, not only is his room full of books, it smells and it's stinky. And there's a cat in there. Not that the cat is stinky, but I don't even know if he has cat food for them. I believe he used all of his income to buy books. Well, anyway, the point is, I was able to douse the fire with water, fortunately enough. Meanwhile, I was picking up...
Hold it!
Even though the room was on fire?
As far as I was concerned at the time, it was more important to extinguish my anger than the flames. When a woman wants to throw, she must throw. That is most certainly not true of a societal takedown, Mr. Naruhodo.
How did she know I was thinking that? So, please cast your mind back and try to remember. Was a knife among the items that you threw at your husband?
In all honesty, I don't recall. But I feel I must point out that I'm no monster. Let me see. Some bread, a cabbage.
My cabbages! Garlic!
Fudge, Jupiter!
Sorry, that scared me! It's like some bread, a cabbage, garlic to scare off vampires, a towel, SpongeBob SquarePants, a napkin.
Excuse me!
Do you have something to add, sir? Ooh! Do it again. Do it again! Do the thing! Twirl it again! It was cool! Fine. Mr. Garadeb. Hey, don't shoot! Sorry, I beg your pardon? Did your wife's remark just now bring something to mind? Nothing of any significance, no. Just that the barrage of projectiles the old thing launched in my direction. Don't call your wife old thing! Was so much more solid than she implies. Books, bricks, the fire poker. Dang, she's a force to be reckoned with. Ouch. We're not at home now, it's a court of law. I didn't think she could pour tea in his pipe. The woman's aim is uncanny. She landed a direct hit with every volley. Oh, dearie me. Ever so sorry, dear. What's she even doing with a teapot in here? People get thirsty. Honestly, John, I would have never thrown such things at you, obviously. Are you gaslighting him? And that was a cool twirl. Well, take a look at this then. How do you suppose that happened? Your pipe, sir. I had this thing in my hand as usual at the time of the onslaught. Knocked it clean out with one of her soft projectiles, she did. Yes. And now my cigar, and now my pipe reeks of tea. I went to pick the thing up. It was broken in two. I'd like to see a sponge do that sort of damage. Let's see, your pipe was broken. Oh my god, I just realized. The knife that's missing the tip? What if that tip is in his pipe? It would never have been sent flying unless it was hit by something pretty solid. Anyway. Wait. Sorry, I heard the song playing in the background. I was like, wait, is that Scarborough Fair or Greensleeves? But I might be like, my ears might just be acting up. Anyway, I've managed to bandage the thing up for now. You all want to exaggerate, aren't you, dear? I wonder what we should make of this account. Add it! The defense believes Mr. Garadeb's remarks just now to be of great significance.
Objection!
This war veteran's words only tell us one thing. Betray a fiery wife, and pipes as well as hearts may be broken. Sentimental wisdom, perhaps, but hardly worthy of adding to the formal testimony.
I was thinking about the pipe being broken. It's like, can we inspect the pipe? Maybe there's a knife tip in there.
Indeed, common sense, one might say.
Might one?
In that case, would you at least permit us to examine the pipe, sir?
Thank you!
Well, I don't see why not.
Oh, dearie me. There you go again, trying to ingratiate yourself with a young lady. Joan, Mrs. Garadeb, she's just asking to inspect evidence. Like, she just wants to inspect a pipe, not his pipe.
Very well, the court will accept the gentleman's pipe as evidence.
I hope I didn't speak out of turn, Mr. Naruhodo.
No, in fact, I'm glad you're on my side. Wait, what?
Looks to me to sorry state with that bandage around it, doesn't it? For some reason, it feels slightly ominous to me. Like it's trying to shout out a warning. Probably because it's the same blue in Mr. Garadeb's dressing gown. I suppose it must have been considered sentimental value to Mr. Garadeb, given that he's gone to the trouble of repairing it like this. Either that, or he can't afford to replace it. Okay.
Hello! I called it!
Oh, something just twinkled inside the chamber of the... Oh, something just twinkled in the chamber of the pipe there. Yes, I saw it. Something stuck in there, I think.
How does he smoke with that thing stuck in there?
Let's turn it over and give it a shake.
What's this?
It's a tiny fragment of metal. It looks like the tip of a blade or something. The tip of a blade? Could it be?
It could be.
That's fine. Thanks to Sato-san, we have some new evidence to work with.
I already did.
Well, thank you for that, rebuttal, Mr. Garadeb. Now, if we could return to the crux of the matter, what can you tell the court about the knife used to attack the victim?
Plenty of knives. Can't say I know one or two went missing. Hopefully I'm presenting it at the right time.
Objection!
Yes! Mr. Garadeb, could I ask you to take a good look at this, please?
You can ask, but I can't see a bally thing. Do you have glasses? You can't?
You used to call me Dead-Eye Deb back in the regiment, of course, but that was some time ago.
You don't... They had glasses back then, didn't they?
Even when I'm trying to enjoy a large print book by the fire these days, I struggle to tell a B from a D and a P from a Q, to be honest.
Oh, he does. Dearie me, it's rather wearing being asked about every other letter and every other word.
You mustn't he does he? Maybe? Like, maybe either dyslexia or old age. Or maybe a mix of both. What is that? A tiny scrap of metal? Yes, almost certainly from the tip of a blade. And what may appear at first to be just a tiny scrap is in fact a crucial piece of evidence. Interesting. And where did the defense come by this evidence?
In the pipe.
It was lodged in the chamber of Mr. Garadeb's pipe.
My pipe, you say? By Jove, I wonder how that got there. And what precisely does this fragment of metal signify, Counsel? Are you suggesting that it's in some way related to the matter of the stabbing on Briar Road?
Yep.
Why are you slapping yourself? Stop hitting yourself.
I am. What? When put together with another piece of evidence already in the court record, I believe this tiny fragment of metal will unravel the whole truth of this case. Oh my god, she's on a box!
You appear rather confident in that extraordinary statement, Counsel. Very well then, present the pertinent evidence to the court. What evidence, when paired with this fragment of metal, allegedly reveals the truth of this entire case?
This!
Take that!
This is the knife that was found in the victim's back. If you look closely, you'll see that there is a small piece at the tip of the blade that's missing. A combination with the inferior blade sold as unsavory street markets.
Are you not seeing my point?
Criminals who use them regularly leave the tips lodged in their victims' bones.
And what of this particular knife?
Are y'all not seeing it?
No doubt its tip has suffered a similar fate, now languishing somewhere near the spine of the victim.
Dude, you just pointed out!
No, that's not the case. The tip of this particular knife's blade is the very fragment of metal we discovered in the chamber of Mr. Garadeb's pipe.
Oh! That was so dramatic. It's like, oh my heart.
Good grief, Lord Van Jinx!
That is a very dramatic pose.
I don't believe it.
I don't know, I feel like that kind of pose you would see like in a drama club or like a ballet.
It's like, oh, my heart has been broken. I don't believe it.
The Caesar Zeppeli pose. This knife from the crime scene and this fragment of metal are a perfect match.
Good golly gosh.
I just noticed, Mr. Garadeb, there's a burn in his robe and it's right over his butt, so you can see his underwear.
Is this some sort of...
No, it's called evidence. This is no magic, my lord. A whole acteur, if you will. This is a miracle.
A miracle?
So Van Zieks has figured it out, has he?
Counsel, explain this extraordinary coincidence at once.
Yes, my lord. The crucial point we have to ask ourselves is here. Is when did the fragment of metal find its way inside Mr. Garadeb's pipe? Something that was clarified for us in the most recent witness testimony. I had this thing in my hand as usual at the time of the onslaught. Knocked it clean out with one of her soft projectiles she did, yes. It would never have been sent flying unless it was hit by something pretty solid.
Oh, okay. I forgot about the jiggly. It's like, oh, dearie me.
Wait, why are you... Oh, I was about to say, why are you both nervous? But then I remember, it's like, if an item of theirs was found in a crime scene, shaking her breast and baby. During the argument between these two that occurred just as the victim was on the pavement below, Mrs. Garadeb flung this knife at her husband. However, the knife missed Mr. Garadeb, instead striking the pipe in his hand at the time, which caused the tip to break off, of course.
Good lord!
Yes, and that is when the tiny tip of the blade found its way inside Mr. Garadeb's pipe.
The chance of that! He almost fainted. Or 1,000,000 to 1!
Also, now you think about it, how did it get lodged in there so perfectly, and how did he not see it? Because if you're trying to smoke something through there, and you would know something was clogged. And there's no other credible explanation for how the tip of the blade ended up in your pipe. Then, after losing its tip, the knife ricocheted off the pipe and flew out of the open window.
Pew pew pew!
In short, this knife, which fell from the window of the Garadeb's house, blam, is the very same knife that struck the victim in the middle of the back on the street below. How did he not inhale it accidentally? Very good point. Oh gosh, oh dear, oh. Oh! See, look at his butt.
Objection!
Hey, you got wine! Are you gonna throw it at the lamp again? A full-bodied theory, I'll give you that. complex bouquet of seemingly trivial points, plausibly arranged to create an almost... I can't read! Allow me to toast my learned friend's characteristically knowledgeable approach to bottling his argument. Eh? But after all, it is just a theory. A game theory! The bottle, I fear, is corked. Because you see... What? Leg! It's spoiled by an insurmountable inconsistency. Also, I'm still, like... I don't know, I love his, like, slammed leg on the table thing, but it'd be a lot more impressive if he could actually, like, did a full, like, split and then slammed it. Like a full Bayonetta-style splits. An insurmountable... What?! Lord Van Cheeks, explain yourself. What is this inconsistency you claim to have identified? My leg! Help! I pulled a muscle! An inconsistency of the simplest nature, my lord. The victim was found with the knife planted in the middle of her back. Please help! My leg! Yes, in her. Again? That's right, you silly little man. Why are you slapping him? That vanished. Now, Jonal thing. What are you getting so excited about? Let us consider the facts of the case once more. The victim was walking along the pavement before being stabbed in the back and falling to the ground. Sorry, I'm getting tipsy. If the knife that struck her had fallen from above... Stop throwing your wine glasses into the light! There's no possible way it could have planted itself into the victim's back. What did that light even do to you? Order! Quite right, you see. That's exactly right. If the knife had fallen on her from above, it would have struck on the top of her head. I freaking knew it. Okay, here's the thing. Say you're walking down the street, and all of a sudden a burning book falls at your feet. And you go, oh geez, what's this? You bend down. Well, it's lost for words, look. I knew it! I never liked this theory in the first place, what? I don't know, though, what really did happen? It would appear the defense has made rather a spectacular blunder. Bend down a whole 90 degrees. Maybe. Depends on the person. If the theory has even one inconsistency it cannot stand. Your theory, my learned friend, is history. That's a new move. This guy's full of JoJo poses. We were so close. I could see the truth. I was so sure we were on the right track. Now the way has been blocked completely. By just one simple inconsistency. Or in other words, we simply need to eliminate that one inconsistency, and the theory will stand. Mizusato. You mustn't worry, Mr. Naruhodo. You were just caught off guard, that's all, and your mind went blank. But if the path you were on is indeed correct, then a way will present itself. The key to this is in the court record, I'm sure. All the information you need is there. Okay, maybe she didn't bend at a full 90 degrees, but maybe it's like 45? It seems you have nothing to say, my... rock band Nickelback friend. Well, your silence speaks volumes. A tacit acceptance that your theory is fatally flawed.
Objection!
This inconsistency doesn't mean I was on the wrong track. It means that I need to sharpen my mind and dig deeper for the truth. It's a test! Yes. If the knife fell on the victim from above, there's no way that it could have hit her in the middle of their back. Under normal circumstances, that is. What are you implying?
Counsel?
There is a piece of evidence in the court record that can explain this inconsistency. That can explain how the knife that fell from above could have pierced the victim's back. We already have the answer.
Goodness!
It's a madness!
Surely this must be the last time. Counsel, present the evidence of which you speak.
This is the last inconsistency. The final piece in the puzzle. If I can successfully make sense of this, the truth will be laid bare at last.
Like, I'm pretty confident, but just in case.
Take that!
This, the fourth book found at the scene. This is the final piece of evidence the defense will present. Sorry, I like the song. A burnt book?
Is that not Mr. Garadeb's book?
Yes. Sorry, I thought the song was like a rendition of an older Phoenix Wright theme. And to understand its significance, we have to consider how it came to be at the scene in the first place. This photographic print clearly shows the book in question, and the victim holding it in her hand. But as we all now know, it was the police constable that put the book between her fingers like that. Because that's how he found her.
Quite so, as part of his wholesale transplanting of the crime scene to the opposite side of the road.
That's true. However, as part of his testimony, Constable Beat made an extremely enlightening statement on that point. But what made you place the book in the victim's hand?
Oh, well, sir, that's because that's how I found it. When we first ran over to the scene, the victim was already holding the book. So, when I moved everything, I made sure it was still in hand.
In other words, the victim had already picked the book up of her own volition. And clearly, that must have been before she suffered the knife wound.
Well, I should say so. After being attacked with a knife, I don't imagine she'd have been doing much of anything.
So the question becomes, why did the victim have that book in her hand?
By Jingo? Jove, Jupiter?
I think I'm beginning to see what may have happened now.
Oh, dearie me. Getting it yet, Van Zeeks? Vampire boy?
We know that the book fell from the top floor of the Garadeb house onto the pavement below, at precisely the moment that the victim was walking past. Yes, at exactly that moment. The young woman was walking along the street in the light fog, when all of a sudden, a book fell right in front of her.
The book I threw.
Yes, Miss Garadeb. And what do you think the woman did? What would you do if you were walking along and suddenly a book landed in front of you on the pavement?
Well, I really can't imagine it, but I suppose.
I just, like, was John looking at her as in, oh gosh, my wife, I must protect.
She might have reached down. Oh, she looks so cute! I picked the book up.
Yes, that is exactly what the woman in fact did. She picked up the book.
Oh heavens!
And when the woman reached down to pick the fallen book up, what position would her back have been in? That's right, facing the sky, completely and utterly defenseless. Then,
In the very next moment, while the woman was still bent over picking up the book, the next object fell from the room above, the jackknife, straight into the middle of her back. And at that same time, walking by chance directly behind Miss Green, was the defendant, Mr. Soseki Natsume.
Well, I never...
It appeared to Mr. Natsume that the woman simply collapsed on the floor. In the dark and the fog, he didn't see the knife falling on her from above. And from the other direction, the constable and his wife saw no one but the victim and her apparent attacker.
So there never was a real culprit to run from the scene in the first place.
No, this was nothing more than a series of unlikely events that culminated in an unfortunate accident. And that is the real truth behind this case. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb?
The very first time you showed me that knife, I had my suspicions. I wondered if perhaps it might have been something like that.
There, old bean.
Poor Miss Garadeb. Oh! Of course, I never meant for anything of the sort to happen, but it was all my fault, wasn't it?
This is the second case in this game where, like, a series of unfortunate events happened. You tried to literally kill me and missed.
I take full responsibility. I let my anger get the better of me. I threw that book, and I threw the knife as well.
John, dear. Okay, honey, first we're gonna sign you up for baseball, because holy crap, you got a good throwing arm. 2, we should probably figure out what to do after this trial.
John, dear.
It's alright, I know.
Ooh! I'm ever so sorry. Truly.
I'm sorry! Oh. Okay, so this is exactly what happened earlier in the game, except she was the one who caught him falling. He's doing his best.
Lord Van Zeeks, what news of Mrs. Garadeb?
She's been taken to the infirmary. It would appear that today's events have left her in an especially flustered state. However, I believe she will recover in due course. There is no cause for concern.
Yes, unbeknownst to themselves, they caused what could easily have been a terrible tragedy. They shall have to prepare themselves for the consequences of their actions.
Are we ever gonna learn if the victim is, like... She was unconscious this whole time. She wasn't killed, so maybe she wakes up. There is some good news, however, my lord. I've just heard from the hospital where the victim is being treated. Her condition is improving steadily. Yay! And the doctor believes she will regain consciousness soon. Yay! Strange. We've been talking about the victim all this time, but we've never once met her.
How wonderful. The woman is out of danger, it seems.
Yes, that is good news.
So, Mr. Soseki Natsume?
Mr. George Joestar. Yes. Also, fun fact, I did a little digging about Soseki Natsume. He's a real person. Like, from what I remember, if memory serves right, he was a scholar in literature in Japan. He was sent to the UK to sort of study more literature, and he hated it there.
I'd like to say, beg your pardon, sir. You came from your distant eastern homeland to study our great British culture, and have been repaid with immeasurable unkindness. Please accept our heartfelt apologies.
No, it is me who should be begging your pardon. Mr. Natsume. That evening, when the young woman just collapsed on the pavement before my eyes, I jumped to the wrong conclusion again in my confusion.
What conclusion, sir?
I was sure that the woman was dead. Yes, Constable Beat said the same thing, didn't he? He thought she had been killed, too. I suppose she must have looked completely lifeless. It's been about a year since I arrived in Great Britain now, but I still can't get used to life here. I can't relax. I'm sure there are evil spirits lurking in the fog. Like they're haunting me! There's no fog in here! Poor Soseki-san. His imagination really has gotten the better of him. Yes, poor man. So when it happened, I thought the young woman had been taken by the fog spirits. I should never have dropped my books like that and run away.
I should have gone for help! For a doctor! For the police!
Instead, I've managed to create a rift in the relationship of trust between our two empires. And for that, I am truly sorry.
One could indeed say that some sort of mischievous spirit has been at work here, I think. One that created a chain of unfortunate mishaps. You were befooled by this spirit and led to false conclusions. But thanks to Lord Van Zeeks and a young lawyer here from the east, that chain has been broken and the spirit exorcised. In fact, she's currently in the infirmary. And her name is June. I heartily commend you both.
Oh!
Now then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Yes, my lord.
In concluding this trial, I must ask one last time for your decisions regarding the defendant's culpability. Are you ready to present your findings to the court?
Guilty! As a foreman of this jury, I can assure you we've reached a fair and just conclusion. I do declare, this truth can be extremely cruel at times. Look who's over there! Well, I did suspect the woman next to me, that's for sure. Sitting in for the old Bane while she's out of action, you know. But I know what her decision would be. Doesn't mean I'll finally be able to get out of here and start work. Well, it's about time! Today I'll have a cork of a story to tell the grandchildren when I get home, won't I?
Very well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I hereby demand your final decision. Mr. Foreman!
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Hadouken!
Very well, Mr. Soseki Natsume, I hereby pronounce you...
Not guilty! Confetti! And fireworks!
And finally, Mr. Natsume,
Oh, yes, Lord, sir.
you are now a free man once more. It is my hope that you will continue to further your education in British culture. And may you never again be brought before me.
Oh, yes, sir, of course.
You're a free man. Have fun. Also, I hate you. Go away.
All my life, I swear I'll never set foot in a courtroom again. I'm transported to tears.
Thank you, counsels. Court is adjourned.
Oh, locum. Wait, you mean me? Of course! Is there another locum here? Let me save real quick, because I know in some cases, just when you think it's ending, there's a point where you had to present evidence to your defendant for some reason. Is there even one? Compared to the original locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, Your name has become rather short, hasn't it? What's wrong with this? What's wrong with using my actual name? At last I'm free! I'm free! Be joyful, joyous, jubilation. Happy, hearty, happiness, hurrah! Oh, I am pleased. Mr. Natsume is delighted. Would it be so hard just to say that, then? No, come, you did it! You saved me from the brink! Well, what happened to the poor woman who was in no way your fault? Well, what happened to the woman was in no way your fault, after all. I'm just glad everyone can see that now. No, not that! Lovely! Loyal locum lawyer! Yes? I mean, as I said before, I have just never got used to life here in Great Britain. Every time I look over my shoulder, I see foreigners! I see towering brick buildings! And from high up windows, I see them looking down on me, laughing.
Look at that little hunchback!
I see white people! Oh dear. I'm sure it's all in your head, Mr. Natsume. But today, you locum lawyer gave my gloom the boot! You stood firm behind that baronial bench before all those babbling British. You battled to the bitter end, laying bare the baffling truth. And when I beheld the blinding fireworks among the beams of the Bailey's roof, I bellowed, "Behold, the best barrister ever born!" Well, that's very flattering, and a lot of bees, and we're very pleased for you. This has given me a wonderful anecdote to recount to my old friends back in Japan. An anecdote? Is that what's become of all my hard work? Oh, there you are, my dear fellows. Oh, no! I apologize for keeping you waiting. I rose late this morning. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, what a pleasure to see you. I see I am here not a moment too soon. The disaster has been averted, I'm glad to say. Oh. The trial shall begin presently, Mr. Naruto. Steampunk Shaggy. Oh my god, he does. Herlock Sholmes, Shaggy, Steampunk Boy. The trial shall begin oh jeez, who did you falsely accuse this time? It's just finished. Oh, what? No, then my haste was in vain? Ah, it's you. Yeah, Herlock Sholmes, he's the guy who first got Soseki wrongly arrested. Herlock Sholmes. Oh, have we? I don't like you. This is Mr. Natsume, the man you had arrested, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, I see. I failed to recognize you at first. Our previous encounters had taken place in the gloom, either of your bleak lodgings or that prison cell. I simply couldn't place that curious face in the light. That's charming. This is all your fault, Herlock Sholmes. You're the reason I had to go through this terrible ordeal. I'm going to give you a piece of my mind. My apologies, sir, but I assure you, I have placed you now. Oh, you're the fellow who abandoned. I do not like this guy. He makes all sorts of wrong conclusions, and yet he boasts like, oh, I'm the smartest man alive! Even though I have to clean up his shit. Has she been taken to the hospital more urgently? I feel perhaps she would have regained consciousness by now. Oh! But it was unavoidable, I'm sure. We are but human, after all. Anyone would have been shaken by such an experience. I do feel very badly about how I behaved. Well, never mind. Now then, what was that you wanted to say to me, sir? What? I don't think he was there at the time, like, he was called in, like, I think when the crime scene was, first reported, then he was sort of like, wait, wasn't there a strange man running from here? Hey you, get over here! Nothing. You aren't worth my time.
Ha ha ha, priceless. Oh, I am sorry, really, but... That was quite priceless. Poor Soseki-san. Still, on the bright side, you've had an extremely entertaining experience without paying a penny. Entertaining my ass! And it would seem you are not even found guilty. But there is no bright side.
Whatever do you mean, Mr. Natsume?
Even after this, I'm still cursed by the spirits and white people, and not by the Reaper. Lord Van Zeeks. Oh yeah, there was a rumor that Lord Van Zeeks, the prosecutor that I was up against, anyone, like any defendants that he encounters, they become cursed or / marked for death. Before that, like, if I have to present something. Seems legit. Yeah, the funny thing is, the case previous to this one, the guy I was defending, he was I can only describe him as the phrase "eat the rich," because he was like the rich guy, and due to some very weird circumstances, like after the trial, even though he was found not guilty due to very unusual circumstances, he wound up dead. I haven't forgotten him, you know, what facing that man in court means. Even if you're found not guilty, you're still doomed!
It'll be alright, Mr. Natsume. If the Reaper appears trying to make trouble, I will protect you.
Hiya! Why me?
For the perfectly executed Susato takedown.
Why? Throw the Reaper, not me! As much as I like being turned on my head, a bit warning might be nice next time.
So, Mr. Natsume, what do you intend to do now? You mentioned something about recounting your experiences to your friends back in Japan.
Yes, I intend to return to my homeland soon.
Oh!
It has already been a year since I arrived here in Great Britain. I've visited universities, libraries, bookshops. I've been honored with the tutelage of professors. I've learned so much about the wealth of literature here, and the city as it has shaped. And I've come to realize that it is my calling to sail home and tell my fellow countrymen about it.
It's very touching, Mr. Natsume.
Or, in perhaps less veiled terms, you wish to withdraw halfway around the world to escape the terror of the Reaper's curse.
That's not it at all!
The more I learn of literature, the more this strange feeling claws at my insides. I feel compelled to return to my roots and attempt to pen a work of my own. Oh, I see. A work of literature by Soseki-san. Could be an interesting read. Yeah, since Soseki Natsume is based on the, like, it's an actual person, I need to look up the book he wrote. Look up the book he wrote. Why did I say write it? And what about Miss Sato and yourself, Mr. Naruhodo? Sorry, what about us? Will you return to Japan alongside your mustache compatriot? Why would we?
A week has not yet passed since we arrived in London. And only now does it feel as though we have finally found our feet.
And you are accommodating in a hotel at present, are you not?
That's right.
But we need to find lodgings before it bankrupts us.
I've calculated we can only afford another 10 nights before our entire budget is exhausted.
Well then, you can take my lodgings. No offense, dude, but the last time I was there, not only were there tons of books around, there was no room for sleeping places. And there was no ventilation, there was no ventilation, the windows were bricked up due to the ye old window tax, so it kind of stank. The windowless room. But what it lacks in windows, it more than makes up for with a floor, a ceiling, and walls. Oh yeah, don't you have a cat in there? Great. And of course, I'd be happy to leave behind the accursed evil spirit.
Oh my, an evil spirit?
Do you mean your cat? It is a cat! Because the last time I went to it, the one time I went to his lodgings, there was a little kitty. I think it was a calico cat? Because I remember it being like white, brown, and black. Take the cat! It tries to suffocate you while you sleep. It's an infallible wake-up call. We'll think about it, if that's alright. Perhaps I can offer a more welcome alternative. Would you consider taking lodgings with me? No! Really? Well, a vacancy has conveniently presented itself. Though it is up in the attic, I might add. Are you sure it isn't just a storage loft? Can we bring a cat? Take the cat named Pittacus! I spoke with the landlady this very morning on the matter of price, and Iris is cleaning the room as we speak. Iris, by the way... Wait, wrong thing. Is Sholmes' roommate / 10 years old. A steampunk toddler. Like, even though she's 10, I keep joking that she's 5. You must come at once. I presume you have no luggage to speak of. Oh, this is simply wonderful. Your fangirl is showing. What an honor to be invited to take lodgings in the great detective's office's attic. I'm too overcome for words. Pink Miku. So, suggesting we look elsewhere is out, then. Then it's settled. Iris will prepare a welcome dinner this evening. And you must come too, Mr. Natsume. I insist. And bring your cat! I don't know what to say, but thank you, and yes. Wonderful. So now go and complete the paperwork for your formal release, Mr. Natsume. It shan't take long. Somebody's happy. Locum. I knew that you wouldn't let me down. I'm truly delighted to have met you here in London. Likewise, Mr. Natsume. It's been a privilege meeting you too. It's a shame that we're going to have to say goodbye so soon. Well, I've come to realize that I belong in Japan. But Locum, we'll meet again one day. Yes, I'm sure. And hopefully by then I'll be a successful lawyer. Hopefully by then I'll be a successful author. Well, my dear fellow, our carriage appears to have arrived. Shall we go, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, Mr. Sholmes. I've little doubt Mr. Natsume will be released in time for dinner this evening. And so, with Soseki-san's innocence successfully established, we rode with Mr. Sholmes to what was to become our new home, 221B Baker Street. The attic isn't as messy as I thought it'd be. So this is to be our new office. Yes. Our office? I rather like the sound of that. Me too. It's simply wonderful, isn't it? I hope you can see this, Kazuma. It's only a small step, but I'd like to think we're getting a little closer to your dream now. So, my dear fellows, do you like the place? Wow! His hair! I barely recognized him. His hair is so poofy. Also, dang, he got beef. He's got pecs. Mr. Sholmes. Yes, thank you so much. It's a delightful room, Mr. Sholmes. I simply adore it. Good, I'm pleased to hear it. Iris and I are delighted to welcome you. There's the toddler! I hope everyone's hungry. It's nearly time for dinner. We'll eat as soon as Mr. Natsume arrives. We have a lot to celebrate. Iris, you must let me help you. Alright then, Susie. You can be in charge of the salad. Oh, right, Iris, she gave Susato and Ryunosuke nicknames, Runo and Susie. Splendid! So, Mr. Naruhodo, how does it feel? It's It's so weird seeing him without the hat. Like, okay, I'm not sure if it's me, but it looks like there's some shading, like, or some light on his cheek. It almost weirdly kind of looks like makeup in a way. Like, maybe there were some spots where foundation was added or they missed a mark. To have your own office in the capital. It's very exciting, actually. I can't help wondering what adventures await us. Okay, honestly, not gonna lie, I would... This guy's wardrobe without the trench coat and detective gear, I'd wear it. Because it looks so fancy! Wah-ha-ha-ha-ha! Those were precisely my sentiments when I first established my office at these premises. Until I discovered the dark truth about the city of London, that is. London is a glorious place, full of wonder, opportunity, prosperity, and mirth. But the brightest of lights casts the darkest of shadows. Suddenly serious face. Shadows? What do you mean? Well, I believe you're well aware of the murkiness that lies behind London's facade already. So once again, Mr. Naruhodo, welcome to London. Of course, at the time, I had no idea of the significance of those words Mr. Sholmes so casually spoke. But it wasn't long before my turn came to lift the facade and see the true depth of the murk that lay behind it. Ed! Oh man. That case was so long. Achievement unlocked. Landed in London. Yes, saving. Also, it's almost 1 in the morning.